What's going on, Metropolitans? Today on Mets Digest, we got a couple reports revolving around Juan Soto because, of course, we have reports revolving around Juan Soto. No, he hasn't signed, so don't say I'm giving you clickbait, but we do have some insight to where the teams rank for him, his camp, and his family. We're breaking that down on today's episode. What's going on, everybody? Flobo Boyce here with you. Mike D'Angelo, my tag team partner over here at Mets Digest, is on special assignment. So you're stuck with me for an extra day. How's everyone doing? How's everyone living? Hope you guys are enjoying the off season like I am. But before we get into Juan Soto and all those crazy shenanigans, gotta say, if you haven't already, do us a favor. Like the video, share the video, comment on the video, let me know what you think about the channel, about what we're reporting on. It means the world to me, good, bad, all of the smack. I do read everything, and sometimes I even respond. And as we get into the MVP discussion in a couple hours time, as I record this, we're going to figure out who the AL and NL MVP of 2024 is going to be. Of course, my vote's going to be with Francisco Lindor. I'm biased, of course, but I'm a firm believer that the most valuable player should play defense, personally. But it does seem that everyone has projected Ohtani to get the dub. That said, whether win, lose, or draw, Lindor, you are my captain. You are my captain, I always say to my friends who can stand it. Okay, let's get into it. Juan Soto, man, just as long as this guy is going to be taking these meetings and we don't know where he's going to go, he's going to be the top of every news headline in the offseason. His age, his prowess of what he does is going to make him top of the line. So the question now becomes, which teams are closer than before to signing Juan Soto? The Dodgers are meeting with him in his camp this week, but we do realize the Dodgers were saying that they weren't going to chase any kind of exorbitant amount. Good thing, I say, because MLB fans on Reddit have already revolted if the Dodgers do sign someone of Soto's caliber to a team that has 3 former MVPs on it. But this came out here from Jon Heyman, who's an insider for the Mets. He was featured on a podcast. In fact, Clutch Points got the transcription on this one when it came to asking him, as it stands right now on November 21st, 2024, who is in the best position to sign Juan Soto, and he goes with this. He says, quote, "Don't hold me to this." Oh, we're definitely going to hold you to this one, Mr. Heyman. But what I'm going to predict today, and I change every other day. How does he have a job at the Post? Okay, I think it's going to be about the money, Heyman said. So the teams that are going to be able to win the bidding war are probably the teams with the biggest advantage. And I'm going to say right here, the Mets, followed by the Blue Jays, would be my guest today. Shout out to Christopher Hennessy at Clutch Point for the transcription. We talked about the fact the Blue Jays are an odd situation. And actually, we have some more insight about the Blue Jays. Just a minute. Stick around for that if you're a Blue Jays fan. About really, they have to offer a lot more than what teams are offering on top of the premium Juan Soto is asking for because of the tax laws in Canada. If you're an American citizen or you have American interests and you play in Canada, you're essentially taxed twice. Not equally twice, but multiple times, where you have to basically make sure you're square with both governments. That comes to be a hit with some athletes, and that really has been a deterrent for playing in Toronto. I think I mentioned this in a couple of past videos, but there is an article out there by The Athletic called Anywhere But Canada that circles around John Tavares, who is a hockey player that played for the New York Islanders and the Toronto Maple Leafs, right? Maple Leafs. And he had his struggles with paying down the taxes and making sure he's square. So I'm always skeptical when the Blue Jays are involved personally, but the fact Jon Heyman is putting Blue Jays in the conversation was interesting. I didn't really have them on my radar, and he's saying one of two. What he didn't mention, however, were the New York Yankees. The Yankees met with Juan Soto in his camp this week as well, and it was the team of the Steinbrenner, Cashman, and Omar Minaya of Mets fame, who is the special advisor to the Yankees organization. To say the meeting went well is kind of standard operating procedure, but Hal Steinbrenner didn't seem too sure about whether or not Juan was going to stay in the Bronx. And if anyone's watched the World Series this season, we all know Juan Soto didn't seem all that enthused to run it back with Aaron Judge and the crew. So this comes from Mark W. Sanchez, who really succinctly summed things up. See, the meeting, this comes from Hal Steinbrenner, the meeting with the Yankees with Juan Soto's camp. The meeting was a very honest and back and forth dialogue that lasted a couple hours. Soto, who knows plenty about the Yankees after playing all of last season in the Bronx, had questions about the player development system, which is a very valid concern. A lot of people were saying, even people who are Yankees fans were saying Yankees farms needs a lot of help. Volpe was brought up too early, etc., etc. Which he does not know well, and which plays a large factor in which teams win and which teams do not. Steinbrenner did not divulge or did not know much else concerning the sweepstakes. Quote, no idea, Steinbrenner said at the owners' meetings. Quote, all I know is he's earned this and he's going to go through the process, end quote. Now, I understand executives have to be coy, right? They're not going to say, oh yeah, he definitely signed up with us, fam. Bloop, 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 bloop. Come to think, it would be kind of funny if Steinbrenner said that quote. But it didn't seem to, I don't know, too confidence inspiring. We understand you're in the mix. You had the meeting with Juan Soto. You are the incumbent team. If anything, other teams have to lure him away with a more attractive offer. And to say you're just in the mix doesn't bode too well. I mean, I think there's a better way to do that. I know Steinbrenner isn't the most fan rah-up guy, but it did seem kind of muted coming out of that meeting. Again, knowing what we know about running it with the Yankees last season, taking to the promised land, essentially being one of two players to put that team on his back and then falling up short, and this body language after the game, I would not be too surprised if he goes elsewhere. And the fact that Jon Heyman, a guy who covers sports in New York, didn't mention the Yankees at all gives me just a little bit more pause. And so we think about what the rankings look like, right? If the Yankees aren't in the situation, according to Jon Heyman, they're not off the table completely. Jim Bowden, who writes for The Athletic and also is a contributor for MLB Network Radio and Sirius XM, Channel 89, if you have it, had his own rankings today in an article which I thought was interesting. But however, unlike Jon Heyman, he puts the Yankees in that conversation as well. Here's his rankings right here. So I want to give you this the top 1 and 2. Give you time to read that one as it stands right now. I'll put my face in there. He has the Mets as number 1, which is interesting because we talk about the Steve Cohen effect of having the large payroll. You talk about the David Stearns effect of going after players who are once in a generation, like Juan Soto does. It does add a little bit of a wrinkle because they do have some prospects. I think Gilbert, namely, who will be ready to go in the outfield if someone were to be injured, a 5th or 6th option. If Soto is signed, it would not necessarily have them have an opportunity of bringing him up because you just signed Jose Siri as well. So if you do sign Soto and Siri, there may be a bit of a logjam caused for your prospects. But that said, Soto's too big not to attempt to sign. I know, as right now, we've asked you on playing these videos whether or not you would sign Juan Soto, and it's pretty much been mixed, which is interesting. I personally feel there's better options out there, but you have to try to give your team a little bit, or evoke your team with a little sense of confidence. So Jim Bowden has the Mets as number 1 and the Yankees at number 2, despite the muted, the low-key, low-energy response Steinbrenner had after that meeting, which to me is kind of interesting. And if you're asking about the Blue Jays, like I said before, if you're a Blue Jays fan, you're going to love this. Bowden, in that very, very same article, puts the Blue Jays at number 6. The Blue Jays finished second in the Ohtani sweepstakes, and they have the resources to make the largest offer to Soto. They can sell him on representing a country, not just a city, but can they really convince him their position to win? Still, top 10 is pretty awesome. I have the Blue Jays 6th or 7th in the mix myself because you do have the Washington Nationals trying to do the prodigal son bit. You have the Phillies who are trying really hard to get younger. You also have the Dodgers who have the money and resources, the Mets that have the money, resources, and the desire, and of course the incumbent Yankees. I do think the Blue Jays get squeezed out, but I thought it was interesting the Blue Jays are still in the play from very high-ranking executives. Let me ask you a question if you're watching this right now. If the Mets cannot get Juan Soto, who do you think he would end up signing with? Who is your number 2 team if it's not going to be us? And I'm going to ask you that question because we're forgetting about one factor, and that is the Santander factor. For anyone who's trying to be in the Juan Soto sweepstakes and does not get it, the open secret, the number 1 of the plan Bs is signing Santander, who rejected the qualifying offer this week from the Baltimore Orioles. Remember, 2 days ago was a deadline to do so. Pete Alonso, Sean Manaea, and Luis Severino declined their offers, and so did Santander, making him a free agent. And I do think his camp knows this as well. His price is instantly going to go up. So anyone who does not get Juan Soto will probably be looking to put Santander in the outfield. Do the Mets do that, though? And I know on a previous video about 2 weeks ago, we flirted with the idea of signing Santander, but again, David Stearns have also said, we want to make sure the kids play. And if you don't get Juan Soto and you do have Jose Siri and you do sign Santander, do you really have a space for the kids to play? Hey, all I do is offer questions. And I know the Juan Soto sweepstakes is going to go on every single day until it stops. But that's why we're here over at Mets Digest, to make sure you distill the news and go over the paywall so you don't have to. My name is Flobo Boyce, and, well, you're going to love the next video from Mike D'Angelo. It's going to be a killer there. If you want to know more about me, I'm a contributor to the Black Baseball Mixtape podcast. Learn more at blackbaseballmixtape.com. And I write my own little comedy sports blog called justasandwich.com. That's just a sandwich. No fries, no sides, just a sandwich. I am out. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, it's LGM to the bitter end.